What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the growing cost of SUVs and cars. Based on some reports you've been reading, they're going up about 3.5% year after year after year with no end in sight. And I want to help you understand what you can do to plan for this price increase over your life and your vehicle's lives, and maybe make some better decisions for yourself. So I hope you stick with me. We're going to get started right now. So welcome back, and today we are talking about the growing prices of cars. Notice I'm using the word prices and not values of cars. Car values are as usual going down as car prices are as usual going up. And today I'm starting to see some different types of trends in the industry with my clients and how they're dealing with this as time moves on. So as usual, if you've got input on this particular subject, go ahead and put it in the comments box. We'd love to get your opinions, and if you've got research you've done yourself, feel free to share that with the community as well, because this is an ever-growing problem and a situation, and we just want to find the best solution for everybody involved. So problem number one that I'm noticing, all right, I was tagged in a Facebook post not too long ago. I don't have a copy of the post, but there was someone that was looking for a vehicle, and they were like, I can't believe that SUVs are $32,000. And we're talking about, this is December 2020. And they could not believe that SUVs had reached $32,000. And some of you may be thinking, well, the SUVs I drive are much more. You know, if you're looking at a Tahoe, or if you're pulling campers, if you're looking at GMCs or Escalades, yeah, you're looking at $60,000, $70,000. Average prices are in that $30,000 to $37,000 range, $35,000 to $37,000. And I've got some information, some data we're going to look at later. But the prices just keep going up. And so to stick with the first problem, and that's just basically bad planning, you know, what's going to happen. So lots of you know that I'm a big fan of leasing. This is not a leasing video. This is just a video on how to prepare and understand what you're getting yourself into for the long run. And so if you paid off a car, good job, right? You paid off your car 5 years ago and you haven't had a car payment in 5 years. And let's say 5 years ago, that car payment was $300. You were paying $300 a month when you made your last car payment 5 years ago. And so you did a great job of getting that car paid off, and now you're just coasting and you're just dealing with maintenance, dealing with repairs and things of that nature, and making sure that you're taking care of the vehicle, right? And then something happens. Something happens, right? Something happens to the car, it gets stolen, it gets totaled, there's a hailstorm, there's a flood. All kinds of things can come into play when you're looking at getting your car totaled. And then you're like, what am I gonna do now? The problem I'm running into is people aren't saving and preparing for that. They're not mentally getting themselves ready. If your car payment was $300 a month 5 years ago, and you haven't had a car payment in 5 years, now we're looking at like a 10-year span. Guys, it's about 3.5% a year that these vehicles are going up in price. So you can do your best to mitigate it by buying used cars and stuff like that. But at the end of the day is you're going to be spending more than what you were spending when you paid that car off. And it's not fair to yourself or anybody around you to think that it's not going to change. And I've found the financial planners, I've talked to a bunch of financial planners, they like using cash still, they like paying for cars for cash, and I'm good with that. But what's not happening is people aren't planning for it, right? So you pay 30 grand for a car today, and you can escape for 10 years without having a payment, and you're just investing money, you're doing all the right things, and then something happens to your car. You've got to get yourself ready for that day. And that day is going to keep increasing about 20% every 4 years. If you go 10 years, it's about 50% more. So a car that was 30, add 15 grand to that, 45 now. And as we get older, our tastes get bigger. You know, we want to be more comfortable. I don't want to drive a car that I drove 10 years ago. I want to drive a newer car with leather and heated seats and cool seats and those types of things. And just imagine what that's doing to the price of things as you keep moving through time. So that was problem number one. Poor planning on thinking about what's going to happen after you have no car payments. So once again, I commend you for paying off your car and having no payments, right? But you have to do something with that money. You have to get yourself mentally prepared for the next time. And here's some things you can do. You can prepare to lease a car. Yep, I said it. You can prepare to lease a car if something happens to your car. What do those payments look like right now? So you can go online on any of the manufacturer's websites and look at a base lease program. So that way you'll have it in your head. The car that I want to drive, if my car blows up, is $500 a month. So I could choose to do that. The other thing you can do is look at what the selling price of those vehicles are. And that's going to be right on the website as well. You just go on the website, find a payment calculator. I'll put one in the comments box when we're done cutting this video. But you can go find a vehicle. If you find one that's $40,000, you can go take that number, put it into a calculator, and know exactly what your payment's going to be to pay for that car for 5 years. Or you can look at the cost, $40,000 plus taxes, what you're going to have to write a check for at that point in time. The problem is everybody gets that car paid off, and they think nothing is ever going to happen. And I see it over and over and over again. While you're busy planning your house trip, planning a trip for your family, or you're planning a home improvement, then the car blows up and you have to take that money that you were going to plan to use it for fun and redirect it into a car in an emergency. So keep that in mind. That's problem number one. Now let's talk about problem number two. And I will take you to an article that was published in September 2020. It says this is exactly how much car prices have gone up. I'll post the link to this article in the comments when we're done. But just to read some of this stuff, car prices are higher than ever, averaging over $38,000. Buying and operating a new car costs motorists nearly $9,300 annually. And you have to start breaking that down for yourself. That's insurance, taxes, finance money, all these different things. Longer loans and higher interest rates are a major factor. Experts suggest shoppers should consider buying nearly new models, which is fine. If you want to purchase a car and keep it for a long period of time, I'm definitely a fan of that. But I have some caveats to it. If you're looking to buy a vehicle that's 3 years old or 2 years old, make sure you're saving at least $5,000. There are certain cars out there like Subarus and Hondas and Toyotas. It's really difficult to save $5,000 buying a used one. So if you can't, if you're thinking you're saving $2,000, I'm like, don't do it. Make sure it's at least $5,000, and then you can go ahead and pick up that used car. Think about a Tacoma. If you've got $35,000, you can buy a new one for $38,000. And then you're like, well, what does a used one cost? I'm like, well, you're gonna have to get a 17 for $35,000. Not worth your time. You wanna go ahead and spend that $38,000 and get the one that's still under full factory warranty. Hope that makes sense. Another thing they're saying is, transaction prices are climbing. New vehicles are reaching record levels. The valuation analysis at Kelley Blue Book today estimates the average transaction price for a light vehicle in the United States is $38,600 in August of 2020. Keep in mind, this is going to go up 3.5% every year. New vehicle prices increased $1,400 from August 19, and they climb in 72 and up. So this article you can read. I'll put it in the comments box, and we can talk about it later. But let's also talk about some of the myths, right? And that's part of problem number two. Problem number two is thinking you're going to win this game, thinking you're going to win the automotive game. Everybody loses this, guys. So in my opinion, we've got to find ways to mitigate it. How do you spend an efficient amount of money, the least amount of money you can, and still drive the vehicle you want, knowing that you're not going to win this game? Just like you don't win the utility bill game, the trash man you got to pay him every month, and you never get any money back for that. You're not going to get any money back for cars either. So basically, you got to find a way to mitigate the best we can. So, lots of people and customers, and even myself, we look at these things and we're like, well, what can I drive that's not going to cost me a lot of money over a long period of time? What can I drive that's going to be, people always say reliable, cost effective, fuel efficient, all these different things. Go to Edmunds.com. It's Edmunds with a U. I'll post a link in the comments box as well below. But I was looking at a vehicle that I really like as an SUV and comparing it to one that most people like. And so if you look over here, this is a 2020 Mazda CX-5 cost to own. Once again, this calculator is right on Edmunds, and you can look at it yourself. You pay about $29,000 for that car brand new in 2020, and it's going to cost you $41,000 over 5 years. As you scroll down here, you'll see insurance costs, maintenance costs, repairs, taxes and fees, financing. You're going to spend around $41,000. Now that's a Mazda CX-5, right? Lots of us would say, well, I like to drive a Toyota because they're a lot more reliable. Okay, take a look at this. 2020 RAV4 costs you a little bit more to purchase that car, but about the same amount of money total cost to own. And if you scroll down and you start comparing these charts, which you can do for yourself if you click the link, insurance costs, maintenance. Look at these numbers. They're just so very similar. So the way that Toyota used to hold up and be reliable and last is not very different than the Mazda at this point in time. So I guess what I'm saying in so many words is being in love with a brand is going to cost you more money eventually over time. So find a brand, if you want to mitigate this game, that you can live with for 5 years. And it may be a Mazda, it may be a Hyundai, it may be something else that you can drive that will cost you less over time and give you more warranty. So don't forget, if you have a chance, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so and click the like button and share it with your friends. We want to continue to have this conversation and get as many people involved in it as possible as we all continue to learn as we move through life. So to recap, I just wanted to talk a little bit about this because I'm seeing it a lot. It's the price of vehicles is going up and people just aren't planning for it. And if you're a financial planner, please talk to your consumers about this. I know that we all are investing money and trying to do the best we can to get ahead, but these cars seem to rise up as emergencies. Like everything's going fine until. Everything's great until someone hits your car. And then there's been absolutely no planning, no thought, because we all thought the car was going to last forever, right? And they just don't. So the best thing I believe, and here's my true advice in this whole video, get yourself prepared and hopefully nothing happens, right? So like if you spend 30 grand for a car 5 years ago and you don't have any payments now, that's fine. Be prepared to pay $500 a month if something happens to your car, but hopefully nothing happens. And that way you won't be so surprised and you won't be so distraught. And I see plenty of people like that. So guys, don't let that be you. Now we also have videos here on other car buying tips, and we would love your feedback in the comments on a topic you'd like us to discuss. And once again, thanks for following. I'm Ronnie Haskins.